Welcome back. I'm here at one of my storage units dropping off this 1965 Suzuki that I just picked up from New Jersey. This is one of those deals I was talking about the other week where you have to be ready for them when they turn up, because these kind of deals don't come up very often. I'm happy to say that this episode isn't completely about me this time. I'm finally starting to get more footage from students sending me things, so I'm going to share that with you, as well as a little bit of a tribute to our graduates.
Hello, Michael Pig here, former Hylton student from '98. Hello, this is Blake Butler. He's an upcoming Auto 1 student, and we have us a 2003 Dodge Dakota. We had a complaint of a coolant smell. We have isolated the issue here as the water pump causing that smell due to a leak. So Blake's down there trying to get the tensioner loose so we can get that serpentine belt off and get after this water pump. Alright, we've got our serpentine belts off. On this vehicle, oftentimes you want to draw a little diagram or take a picture, but fortunately this one's got a little cheat sheet for us right there, so we don't have to pay too much attention to which way it goes. Now we got to figure out how to get this water pump loose. Someone's worked on it before and chewed up the fan clutch for us. It looks like our water pump, the nut might have a few good flats on it still, so we're gonna try our air hammer set up here. Get that down there. We got our tools situated now. See if we can get this guy loose. So get it down on there. Hang on. Put it over so angle like so. Now go ahead and try to hit it. Alright, we got it loose with our nice little rig here. This thing works great. I recommend it for everybody. So here you go, Blake. You just hold the water pump pulley itself, and you spin that fan off of it, and be cautious not to let the fan drop and hit the radiator. Well, I'm not sure if you'll be able to get it out of there or not. There you go. Beautiful. Alright, now we have access to our water pump. There it is. Here's our new part. We can use this kind of as a template so we can see which bolts we need to get off down there, so we're not pulling stuff off we don't mean to not take off. We also have to remove that shiny idler right there. It's blocking up some of our bolts. And first and foremost, don't forget your drip pan, keep your driveway clean. Alright, we got our water pump out, and we see what we were looking for. Some evidence of leakage down here. We're ready to clean up our mating surface down there and reinstall. Our gasket surface is clean. We're ready to install our water pump. Get back to it, kid. It was easy. You're just inexperienced, which is what students are. It's kind of the purpose of learning. The top bolt.
Top one on the right.
Okay, is that the long bolt that you took out?
Yes.
All right. So we got the water pump in, and we used a small air ratchet to run those bolts down. They're not quite tight yet. Blake's going through the hand ratchet. So we have our water pump installed. Everything's all nice and snug done. And we got to put our idler back in place there, and our fan. Put some coolant in there. Give it a little pressure test, see how we look. Blake's routing our serpentine belt. We got the fan still out of the way. Makes it a little easier to route the belt. And when we get it on there, it's going to help us hold that water pump pulley to ease the installation of the fan itself, fan and fan clutch. Watch Blake argue this again. Most vehicles you want to pay attention very carefully. Install that so you don't hit the radiator. Alright, Blake's got our fan in place. Everything's all happy and tight and buttoned up. We got our 50-50 mixed coolant. We're gonna top it off with a nice funnel. Verify before you put any coolant in any vehicle that it's the proper coolant. Every car takes its own kind. Wrong stuff will do damage to your vehicle. Not immediately, but it will eventually. So we're gonna run this vehicle until the thermostat opens. We got our funnel there with some coolant in there. And we'll run it until the thermostat opens. Bleed the system and make sure there's no air in the cooling system. This thing will be ready to go.
I'm finally going to get started on the 36 Harley frame now. My first step is to pressure wash the decades of dust off of it. Now that the Harley frame is all cleaned off, I can take a closer look at it, do a better assessment of what I want to do with it. I got to decide if I want to make it a runner or do a complete restoration on it. The engineering that went into these bikes was pretty remarkable for its day. Today's Harleys last a very long time. They run very well, primarily because they're Japanese engineered and designed. Now you'll never get a Harley guy to admit that, even if they know it's true, but it is a fact. But this is 100% 1936 American made. And some of the engineering again that went into this is pretty remarkable. The front forks, for an example, the Springer front end, everywhere there's a pivot point in it, there's a Zerk fitting there for maintenance. They even went as far as to put a Zerk fitting in the front of the seat where it mounts to the frame, so that there's less wear there as well. So this is a really cool piece of history. As I said before, I'm proud to own it, and we'll be getting started on starting to put this thing back together really soon. I'm still waiting on the carb kits to come in for our 750, but in the meantime we're going to take a look at this front brake and see what's wrong with it. There's no pressure on the front brake of our motorcycle here, so we're going to check out the master cylinder and see what we can do to get this thing repaired. We'll start by taking the top off of the master cylinder, seeing what we have there. And inside it looks a little dirty and definitely dry, so we're going to clean that up real good, introduce some new brake fluid, and see if we can get it bled out. I've got the bleeder screw loose now. We're going to try to gravity feed some of that fluid through here. I'm sure it's going to be nasty. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, she's a little dirty. What we'll do now is we'll bleed this thing without the bleeder screw in it, get the system flushed, and hopefully that's all it'll need. So what I'm doing is I'm squeezing the front brake lever and causing hopefully some pressure to push through the system, and it looks like it is actually. You can see it bubbling up out of there every time I squeeze it. Fluid actually doesn't look that bad in there, but we're going to go ahead and flush it out anyway. Hopefully you guys can see every time I'm squeezing the lever, pushing more fluid out. It's getting cleaner. Keep the master cylinder reservoir full. Keep pushing this old fluid through until the clean fluid comes back out. Pretty good so far. It's got a little bit of resistance on it, even though the bleeder screw's out of it. Put my finger over it now and see if we're building up any pressure. Oh yeah, lots of pressure there. So now think we put the bleeder screw back. We can bleed it out. In checking this bleeder screw out, it's clogged. I can't blow through it, which means we're not going to be able to get any fluid through it. So what I'm going to do is run a little piece of wire through the port here and make sure we can get fluid to pass through it. And once we can get fluid to pass through it, then we can bleed the system and we should be good. Alright, the bleeder screws are all cleaned out now. We can put this back in place, snug it back down, and we can begin to bleed it. So now we can bleed this. What we're going to do is just squeeze the lever a couple times to build some pressure in the master cylinder. Then we'll take and open up the bleeder screw. Push the fluid out, like so. Then you tighten it back. Pump up a couple more times. Hold it. Do it again. Tighten it again. We've got some pressure here. Hopefully it's releasing. We won't know that until we try to roll the bike. But it actually feels like it's supposed to. I think we're going to be in good shape as far as the brakes are concerned. We're going to go after the points now. Take a look at those and get them cleaned up and adjusted so that once the carburetors are done, we'll be that much closer to getting this thing running. There they are. They look pretty good actually. So we're just going to get them cleaned up anyway. And then once we get a battery for it, I'll be able to kick it over and make sure that we do have fire. And then with any luck, maybe we'll have this thing running this weekend. My students are probably going to want to fast forward through this part because they haven't been around long enough to be nostalgic. These pieces of wood here represent something pretty special to me. Back when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, there was a place very close here called Midway Hall out in Calverton. It was where I first learned to roller skate. Spent a lot of time there roller skating on this actual very wood. What I found out much later is that it used to be a dance hall prior to that, and the likes of Buck Owens, Roy Clark, and even Elvis Presley played there. Even in Buck Owens, for the older people that know who he was, in his biography, it even lists Midway Hall, Calverton, Virginia, as one of the places that his group performed. So just knowing that, you know, back I used to roller skate on this and learn to roller skate on it, that people danced to Elvis Presley and Roy Clark and those guys, and I'm going to do some more research to find out if there were any others. It's just really cool knowing that this wood played an important part of that. And I don't own just these few pieces. I own an entire truckload. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an accent wall in my house at some point and have the nostalgia along with some of the history posted onto the wall in my house. So this is what Midway Hall looks like today. This is a new entrance that they're putting in. But when we would come in to go skating, we'd come in through this door. We'd come into a counter. It wasn't this counter, but we'd come into a counter to pay and get our skates. Be on our way. In later life, this place was turned into an antique mall. But in the very beginning, it was an Esso gas station. Here's an original picture of that station. Then it became a Chrysler dealership. This is an invoice from August 25th, 1947 for a new car for $2,090.35 after a Plymouth trade-in. Pretty insane. And here's the stage that those famous people performed on that I was talking about, and many others. Definitely a lot of history there. Full of stuff, but the stage is intact. And here's the floor. Spent a lot of time on this, on the wheels, for the majority of the time. Minus that plywood there. It was a great place to spend the weekend. Those poles were in the center of the floor all the time. They were in the very middle, so like any other skating rink, it was a big oval. We didn't have much trouble maneuvering around it. But had a lot of fun here. Again, minus the furniture and appliances. It's a great place to be. But for me, it's all about the floor. So I spend a lot of time wheeling and rolling around this place. Next time on Bulldog Builds, we have our carb kits installed and back on our Honda 750. We'll see which direction we take with our 36 Harley, and we'll see if this 1912 American comes home to Virginia or not. See you next week.